All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here for week 2. Much different slate. I do have a couple big announcements. First and foremost, it is everyone's favorite podcaster, Rob Bolzari's birthday.
Thank you. Yes.
Happy birthday,
happy
Rob.
birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
For an
Hoping
hour.
for a big day on the birthday.
We are.
Yeah.
And Christmas is here early.
Mm.
And every week hereafter. The boys are giving out $100 to Amazon to help you guys pay for your family's Christmas presents. Treat your family. They deserve it. Leave a comment for your best bet today. And then you get put in the winner's pool. And then randomly we'll select the winner every single week from here on out throughout the rest of the year.
Sides, totals, throw in your best play in the chat. We're going to pick a random winner at the end of the week. $100 gift card. Easy as that.
Easy as that.
What more can we do to give away to the people? Is there anybody else that offers this much in the Delaware Valley? I don't think. Sean?
I haven't seen any. I haven't found any.
I think we're giving UNICEF a run for their money.
Yeah.
They're talking about us over there.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, I'm ready to get into it. I think this is one of, like, this week 2 is tight. It's tight. I told you guys earlier, like, we're staring at a 1 o'clock slate. The biggest, like, the only spread over 3.5 or larger than 3.5 is that Jets Browns game at 6.5. So I'm ready to get into it. It's going to be really tight. I think it's one of those weeks where you're just hoping to stay positive because it's a tight one.
Yeah, this one looks way different than last week. Let's start it off. Let's go into Baltimore. They're giving the Dolphins 3.5 points right now. Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, I've been very vocal against the Dolphins, obviously. I lean to the Ravens here. They're just a little too banged up for me. I know they're missing a safety, I believe, and a left tackle, Ronnie Stanley. So I can't get involved with all that. But I do think the Ravens – I would lean to the Ravens, but I'm not going to put my money on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at a lean here too. On the other way with Miami, I know how you feel, Sean. I know you're more than willing to pay to see Miami and Tua prove it to you, and I'm right there with you. I don't see enough on either side to really back my money. I know and I don't see enough in the market either. Like I know Miami's getting some love with the 3.5, but I just don't see enough there in the spread to really back them. I think it's going to be a good game. I think you're going to know a lot more about each team at the end of the game. But there definitely leans on this one. Not an official for me either.
I'm riding with the Ravens. That's an official play for me. And I'm only basing that off of, I feel like the Dolphins got bailed out by their defense last week, and the Patriots made a couple mistakes, and that game was way closer than that scoreboard projected it to be.
Right. Yeah.
So I think the Ravens are a much tougher team. They'll definitely be able to move the ball this week. So I'm taking the Ravens minus 3.5 at home. That is my first official play of this slate. This next one's ugly. We're in Cleveland. Laying 6.5 to the Jets. That's a lot of points for the Browns.
I think so. I mean, I think to me, this is, Sean, this, like I said earlier, this is a hold your nose and make the play kind of game for me. I like the Jets getting the 6.5. I don't think you're going to find the 7 unless you want to buy the hook. You may not need it. I'm banking on not needing it because I think the books are afraid to make that a 7-point spread. The one, I think maybe the one time it crept up to 7, I think they got hit pretty hard. That brought it back down to 6.5 pretty quick. You're still getting about 66% of the money love on the spread for the Jets. I like the Jets. I'm making it a play at 6.5. Like I said, it's not a pretty play. It's not particularly attractive, but I'm going to hold my nose and go and ride with the Jets. I also like the under in this game. I locked it in earlier today at 39.5. I see it's already down to 38.5. So we love closing line value. We'll take a point there. Just a quick check on the under. I think that, yeah. So it's relatively split 50-50 on the ticket count. There's a little bit more money on the under, but I think it's good enough for me. And now seeing it come down to 38.5, I think this could be a real dogfight, slugfest between these two teams. I don't, with the quarterback matchup being Flacco and Brissett, again, ugly matchup, nothing too pretty to look at here. Hold your nose, play the numbers, and that's it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rob. I mean, this is another lean for me, not an official play, but if I had to play this game, I would take the Jets. Jacoby, you just can't lay 6.5 with Jacoby Brissett. It's too many points. If the Jets get out to any type of lead, they're not going to cover that. They just don't have enough offense. It's all run. Everything's at the line of scrimmage. They're not explosive enough. If it was anybody but Joe Flacco, I'd probably be on the Jets money line here, but it's a pass for me.
I mean, the Jets are getting only 30%. I'm sorry, the Jets are getting only 37% of the tickets on this one, but 66% of the money. It's a big enough spread to me there that says sharp money, big money. They're taking the points with the Jets, and I like I said, I'm more than willing to just hold my nose and go with it.
Yeah, I don't want to see this on my TV at all. And I don't want to talk about this game anymore.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty.
This next one's interesting. I'm seeing a lot of movement on both sides. We're in Detroit against the Commanders. I've seen Detroit -1, seen Commanders -1. I don't know what this is telling me, and I'm not buying the love on the Commanders personally. What do you guys think?
Yeah, this is an official play for me to kick off the slate. I'm not buying the buyback or whatever's going on with making Washington the favorite. I was really impressed with what Detroit did last week on both sides of the ball. And I buy that. I think they can do that every week. I think that's what they can be, a good, bad team. When you win in the trenches, I think you could beat anybody on any given week. So Detroit is an official play for me.
I don't hate the play, Sean. I do think Detroit may be the better team right now than Washington. To me, it's a lean. It's not an official play. What scares me is seeing Washington come on the other side from +1 to -1 within, I think, within the last hour, and Washington still only generating like 36% of the tickets, 30% of the money. But to still see that line go the other way, it's weird to me. So I think that's why I'm staying away. I think it's a coin flip game. But I definitely could see the Lions making enough plays to win it, though.
The market's definitely scary in this one.
For sure.
I think the Lions are a better football team. And if they come out the way they did last week against the Birds, the Commanders are going to be in trouble. I don't think they have the weapons to respond like the Eagles did.
Right, yeah.
And they don't have the O-line. I mean, the Lions' defense they were raining hell. A couple.
They're giving props. Yeah, and that the defensive lineman, the rookie.
Yeah,
Hutchinson is just he's a dog. Like, you already could tell whether you watched HBO this summer or not. Even in the first game against the Birds, and then in the preseason, if you follow along, the guy is just in the backfield and he's going to disrupt plays. So I like Detroit. It's still only a lean for me just because of the weirdness in the line. Seeing that go on the other side with Washington when it's only generating 30% of the money, that's just scaring me away.
Quick side note. I feel like Aiden Hutchinson's trying to be like Mel Gibson from Braveheart, that eye black.
Yeah, it's his thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Not a good look.
Everybody's got to come up with their brand, their thing. I'm not sure if that's it.
Tough time to follow Mel.
Yeah.
Tough time to follow
Mel. Yeah.
All right, moving on. Another ugly game. We're in Jacksonville, and they're getting 3 to the Colts.
Yep. Well, I'm just going to come out and say it. I'm officially jagging off today. I will take 3 points at home for Jacksonville. I just love where the money's headed. It's even count on tickets. It's 50-50, but Jacksonville's generating 70% of the money. That's enough for me to say, big money, sharp money's coming in on Jacksonville. I'll wait to see the Matt Ryan led Colts, prove me wrong. Otherwise, I thought last week was an absolute joke. How many folks, myself included, were sweating, Colts money line parlays last week, and to only wind up with a wash on that tie. I don't see enough there with the Colts to scare me away from this one. When I'm seeing the Jags generate that much money, I'm okay with jagging off this week.
Yeah, I wanted to take the Colts here, but with 2 injuries to 2 of the 3 biggest playmakers, I just can't get there. It's just going to be a complete pass for me. If Darius Leonard and Michael Pittman aren't going to be there,
Pittman's out.
They're going to struggle, man. They don't have enough. Yeah. They literally have 0 receivers after Pittman. It's like a little white kid, and
about that. Yeah.
It's like I just can't get there.
Yeah, it was a joke. We were laughing about, you go by Michael Pittman. I don't even know the names on that Colts depth chart when it comes to wide receivers. So without him there, of course, take out Jonathan Taylor, but their biggest playmaker on the outside, they could struggle to move the ball. And if the Jags can contain Taylor, all the more reason to like them this week.
The Colts are going to go on a run at some point this season, but after seeing that performance last week, I'm not ready to back them at all. I'm staying away from this game. This is another one I don't want anywhere remotely close to my TV. But this next one, this is a good matchup. I want to see this. I want to pay attention to this game because I'm trying to figure out what the Saints are really about. Hosting the Bucs, because they always give the Bucs trouble every season. They're getting 2.5 points at home. Mm-hmm. How do you guys feel about that?
Well, yeah, that's Sean. What do you think about this? Is a tight game.
Yeah, it's nothing I'm putting my money on. I lean to the Bucs, but it's really just like a fade the public thing. I mean, everywhere you go, it's the Saints just keep beating the Bucs. Tom Brady can't beat the Saints. Blah blah. Like it would just be a fade the public thing. But I'm completely passing on this game altogether.
I agree. I mean, I think it's a pass. I don't know if you're fading the public. To me, you had that. If you were going to buy in on Tampa Bay, it was at the 2.5.
Yeah.
Now that it's up to 3, and so we're looking at it right now. You got 56% ticket count on Tampa Bay, 74% of money. That's been jumping up all day, which has brought that line to 3. Right before we jumped on, I was telling Mike and you, Sean, like the fact that hasn't gotten to 3 yet. It's what's kind of keeping me away from buying in on Tampa Bay to get their, Brady to get his first regular season win against New Orleans in a Tampa Bay uniform. But, and now it has moved up to 3. It's just still not enough to me. 2.5 was the time to buy in. But now that it's sitting at 3, I'm staying away.
I lean the Saints here. I wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole. But for them to play that poorly last week, granted, it is the Falcons, but it's still an NFL team. That first half, they were horrific.
Yeah.
Their only play that they had was Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
They
were getting bullied.
Like the entire half. They were getting bullied by the Falcons. Yeah. And they still came back and won. That says a lot to me. I think they're going to put up a serious fight against the Bucs. I lean the Saints here, but I just don't trust Jameis Winston against Tom Brady. That's just something don't think I could ever bring myself to do is bet against Brady and the other guy's Jameis Winston. Nothing against him. I mean, he might be one of the goofiest dudes in the NFL, and he's a riot, but I definitely just not put my hard-earned money on Jameis Winston.
Yeah, I'm staying away from this one.
All right. This next one.
I got nothing.
We're in New York. Everybody's back on the Giants. The Titans miss a field goal, and the Giants football is back. It's like, all right, humble yourselves a little bit. The Giants are hosting the Panthers, but that's another ugly team. Mm-hmm. Baker Mayfield really didn't look that well last week. Not even like he didn't look good. He didn't look well.
Yeah, it was an ugly game. It was
sick.
Yeah, it was definitely an ugly game down there in Carolina against Cleveland. It was a dogfight. I mean, we were on the right side of that one with Cleveland. And with this one though, this week I'm going Carolina. Actually, I like Carolina as an official play on the money line. Earlier today, it was at minus 105 on the money line. Since that line, similar to the Detroit-Washington game, Sean, that one's also flipped now to -1 on the Carolina side. And then in turn, the money line has jumped up, of course, like minus 120, 125. So love the value there already that we got with Carolina money line earlier today. I'm sticking with it. I like them to win the game. I think there is a little bit of an overreaction to the Giants week 1 win. Don't get me wrong. I think just like we said in the NFC preview, the Giants are going to be a better team this year. But I just think there's enough value on the overreaction to go side with Carolina today.
We got a question from one of our fans about the total in that game.
Mm.
What do you guys think? I mean, to me personally, it was nice to see Saquon back, but I don't trust either one of those quarterbacks. I respect the Giants coach for going for 2, changing the culture, win the game. But I don't trust either one of those offenses, and both their defenses are still suspect. I have no feel for that total. Low number. I guess I would lean under, but I haven't really put any thought into it.
No, I mean to take it a step further and just look at the market. Like I would only lean under as well. I don't have an official play on the total, but what I'm staring at is a fade the public play on the over. You got 68% of the tickets coming in on the over, but only 32% of the money. You switch that around, you got 68% of the money coming in on the under with 34% tickets. To me, big money, sharp money's coming in on that under at 43.5. So that's the side I would lean if I'm making a play on the total.
If I had to make a play, I'd probably lean to the over. I just don't really respect either of these defenses or pass rushes. I think we're going to see 20 plus from each of them today. But, I mean, I'm not betting that.
To me, that's another game I don't want to see on the TV. There's quite a few of these today.
Yeah, it's not looking
I'm kind of
good.
glad the NFL's getting these out of the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there could be some ugly ones.
Yeah. But this is a big one. This next one, I'm really interested to see how this one shakes out.
Yeah.
I have an official play on this. We're in Pittsburgh, and they're getting 3 to a Patriots team that did not look good last week.
No. Same Patriots team we said coming in that may be struggling offensively, and it didn't look pretty last week down in Miami. We also know they struggled down in Miami. I'm anxious to get your official play on this because I'm willing to lock in Pittsburgh again at +3. It jumped up to +3 earlier in the day. You had to pay a little bit more of the juice on the +3, but to me, what is it beyond Bill Belichick that is appealing, when it comes to the New England Patriots? Because to me, the only thing people see when they bet New England now is Belichick. But he doesn't play on the field. He stands on the sidelines. He coaches the game. Obviously, best coach in NFL history, perhaps, but he's not actually suiting up and playing for the Patriots. And I don't think they have enough to warrant laying 3 in Pittsburgh, notwithstanding the Watt injury, because that defense in Pittsburgh is still pretty solid. Granted, they weren't the prettiest, last week either, with the 4 turnovers and still finding a way to, outlast Cincinnati in that game. Really ugly game. But I just like the 3 at home. And plus you got the Tomlin as an underdog trend. So I'm always willing to buy in on that trend. I know it's over 60%, him as an underdog. So I'll ride with Tomlin in that spot too. Home underdog as well.
Yeah, I lean to the Patriots here. What'd you say?
Go ahead. I'm going to bar him up in a second. You go.
I lean to the Patriots. Actually, no, I have an official play on the Patriots here. The TJ Watt injury, I mean, you just brush over that like that. Yeah, I mean, TJ Watt, he's worth 5, 6, 7. I mean, how many points is that guy worth on a line? I mean, he sacks the quarterbacks. He stops the run. He swats balls. I mean, he affects almost every play. Where am I at? Go ahead, Mike.
I'm Black Air Force gang. 7 days a week and twice on Sunday. My question to you is, you're talking about the Patriots and why, what do we see in them? What do you see in the Jags?
The Jags or the Steelers?
The Jags.
Jags. I like
Lawrence. Same conversation.
No, I like Lawrence. I had the over in 1.5 touchdowns last week for Lawrence. I mean, they got stopped on the goal line twice last week on a goal line stand by Washington. There was no reason why he should have been over those 2 touchdowns, why they shouldn't have won that game. I mean, Wentz pulled a couple of decent throws out at the end of the game, but I think there's enough young talent on that Jacksonville offense for them to really, put together a couple games this year. Like compared to New England, I still think New England's a better team, maybe, but I just see a little bit higher ceiling with Jacksonville right now.
You're making me angry. It's your birthday, so I'll let you live. But
Rob, but you would agree that 4 turnovers and having to take the game to overtime is a concern.
You should have lost the game.
They should have lost the game. Absolutely. Listen, I just think it's too much. I'm not saying New England's going to lose the game. I think New England could win the game. I just think with the value with Pittsburgh as a home underdog with +3, I just think it's too much at this point. So, hey, I think it's it's a tight game.
Respect your opinion.
Every game here is a tight game.
Respect your opinion, but I'm riding with the Pats.
I don't, like I said, I'm not gonna argue with you until I'm blue in the face. I think you could really make a case for either side. Personally, like if you guys are telling me you're gonna buy in at 2.5 before it jumped to 3, great. I think -2.5 for New England is a good play. I think it's a good play. So if you really like New England that much, I'm gonna bring it down to 0.5. I'm not gonna lay the 3. And in fact, I don't think you have to pay that much for the 2.5 because if I'm not mistaken, I think it might be actually an even vig line on the -3.
Juiced on the Steelers,
right? So you pay the extra 20 cents, make it 120, bring it down on under field goal. Then I like to play.
All right, fair enough. We'll argue about this for the next 6 hours because I'm here all day. We're in LA, and they're hosting the Falcons. They're laying 10. They've had a lot of time to think about that opening game.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? That's a lot of points, though.
That's a ton of points. I lean to the Falcons, but I'm just afraid that they can't throw the ball. If the Rams get out to a big lead, I think the Falcons are going to struggle to stay in it. But if they can come out early and run, like their offensive line beat up on the Saints defensive line a good amount last week. They gave them hell. I just don't know, like after you get a game of tape on you, like how effective is that run game going to be? So it's a pass for me, but it's just too many points. The Rams have showed us nothing.
We were talking about that style offense 1 week of tape, and it just doesn't work anymore. I mean, they tried it against the Saints. It was working for a long time. They were moving the ball. I mean, they look a lot better than I thought they would.
Same.
I'll give them that. And I feel like getting 10 is kind of disrespectful for the performance they just put up and the performance that the Rams just put up. But that's also signaling to me like the Rams might come out here and beat the hell out of the Falcons. So I just don't even want to think about that game because that's too many points. But I'm leaning Rams in that game.
It's a stay away from me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to back the Rams. To me, I think Atlanta's a sharp play, Sean. So I agree with you. I lean Atlanta. Yeah, I would think about maybe 10.5 if I really liked them and I wanted to get it over the key number. But even then, I would maybe avoid that. And if I liked Atlanta enough, stick with the 10 because with an even ticket count, you're still getting just over 70% of the money on Atlanta. So I think the sharp money's telling you it's an Atlanta play. And then to your point, Sean, I'd be okay with the 10 instead of crossing over the 10 because if Atlanta gets behind it all, I do think it's going to be really hard for them to keep up. And I don't know, like to have to press the ball or push the ball down the field for a backdoor cover to stay in that game. I don't know if I like Atlanta in that spot outside of like what we saw the game script last week when they were really controlling the tempo and the pace of play against New Orleans. I don't know if they could do that against the Rams as well. So that's why ultimately it's just a lean and I'm staying away.
Yeah, I don't really care about that one either. This
Agreed.
Next one I'm a little intrigued with, though. I want to find out what the Niners are about because you got to take last week's game with a grain of salt with the way that field condition was and with that rain. I feel like this week you're going to see Trey Lance's bag of tricks.
Yeah.
I mean, they're hosting the Seahawks, who everybody loves because of that whole story, and we saw that one coming from a mile away. I'm way off on them, but they're laying 9. That's a lot of points for a division game too.
Did that just jump up to 9?
I'm seeing it 9 and 8.5.
Yeah, there's a little bit of juice on the 8.5. Sean, do you like anybody in particular in that one?
Yeah, I have an official play on the Niners. I think today is the opening day for the Niners. Last week we learned nothing about either of those teams. That's just not the style of play that they're looking to play. They're going to be able to run the ball this week, I think. Jamal Adams missing for the Seahawks, I think, is a big deal. That's all he does. I mean, he can't cover. He can't do anything else but run defense. I think we're going to see the Niners score a good amount today. And I was thinking about an alternate spread, but I'm just taking the minus 8.5. I really do. I think they're going to beat the hell out of them today.
What would you take that up to?
Under 14. Nothing crazy, but just 2 touchdowns. I think the Seahawks are really going to struggle to score today.
I like that, Sean. I'm going to tell you on that. I'm going to lay the 8.5 at the minus 115. I'm going to make that official tail on your end. I like the way you're thinking on that one. I do think it's it's week 2, so get right game. I think it's a little early, but I like to your point. I think the 49ers get on the right track today. I think you got to throw out that monsoon that was last week's game in Chicago. You really aren't able to tell a whole lot from that. But I do like San Francisco to get right. And again, this is also biased because I have some personal investment in Trey Lance this year. But I'm looking to see him make a couple of moves. Actually, I threw Lance in my touchdown parlay. We'll get to later on, but I like him to get in the end zone as well for a rushing touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, those weather conditions only help a team like the Bears.
Yeah.
And destroy an offensive game plan like the Niners.
Yeah.
So last week, doesn't even count to me. I lean Niners, but that's more of a stay away play for me as well. This next one, we're in Dallas. They're hosting Joe Burrow and the Bengals, coming off a heartbreak. 7-point favorites away. I mean, yeah, they should probably cover that. I think they will, but that's also a lot of points for a team. Joe Burrow was running for his life again.
Yeah.
And Micah Parsons gets to the quarterback
Yeah, it's tough one. I'm staying away, Sean, from this one. I don't, I'm not trusting Cincinnati to cover a spread without Prescott, nor do I really, trust Cooper Rush to cover against Cincinnati. I think it's just a stay away from me. I'm seeing that there's been enough love on Cincinnati to bring it to 7.5 with juice on, in favor of that Dallas 7.5. I think it's an even vig for the 7.5 on Cincinnati. That's just too much for me. I just think and especially with the amount of ticket count and money coming in on Cincinnati, I just think it might be too much. It's just scaring me away from this one.
Yeah, I thought Dallas looked pretty bad last week, even with Dak. I'm definitely not looking to back them with Cooper Rush now. All of a sudden, I don't think he's just going to elevate the team. But I'm not looking to get involved with Cincinnati either. It's too many points on the road. The backup quarterback theory, like where the defense is going to stand up and hold them to 20 points or whatever, and then you're in the ball game the whole time. It's not something I'm getting involved with.
Yeah, I'm not getting involved with this, but this would be a game that I would fade the public on. I'm not going to, because it could be one of those free money bets. But seeing everybody and their mother on the Bengals, something weird could happen down there, and I'm just staying away from that one. This is a weird one, and the next one, it has Sean's new favorite player in the NFL, Davis Mills, and he's going up against Russ after a tough loss. Tell me how you feel.
I love Davis Mills. I think Davis Mills is like
Well, wait. This will be a good one. So, what's stronger, Sean's love for Davis Mills or Mike's love for Taylor Heineke?
Davis Mills is better than Taylor Heineke easily.
Taylor Heineke's invited to my wedding. It's not even a question. I can't believe. Give me Taylor Heineke over Carson Wentz every day. They did wrong.
I'm looking to back. I was looking to back the Texans here, but Denver losing that game last week really threw everything off for me. But I'm looking to back the Texans in the future. I think Davis Mills is a bottom teens guy. I really do. I think he's a solid quarterback. He gets the ball out quick. He's accurate. And they have a decent amount of weapons. Their running backs aren't awful. And Brandon Cooks is one of the most underrated receivers in the league. He just goes for 1,000 yards every year. I'll be backing them in the future, but not today.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this earlier this morning. Brandon Cooks has quietly had one of the better careers over the last 5 years. Yeah. And he's never put in the discussion of a dominant wide receiver. But every year you see him, he has 152 touchdown game multiple times a year. Dude balls out. Malcolm Jenkins took his soul in the Super Bowl. Don't forget about that.
That is true. I'm staying away from this one. If I wanted to buy in on the Denver kind of, again, a little get right after last week, I'd maybe look to find a way to get that under 10 if it makes sense. But I think there's actually looks like there's a little bit more juice on the -10 on the Broncos line. So I'm staying away. I think it is too much because I liked Houston too, Sean, last week. I had to play on Houston, cashed it. That was an easy cash with Houston against the Colts. But I just think after a tough game like that, going into Denver's coming off a tough loss in Seattle. It's just a stay away. I think I probably lean more towards Denver covering that.
That's another big spread, man.
Yeah.
Too many points for me.
It's a lot of points for a team that looked really unprofessional last week too. I mean, just bad penalties, and it's just I can't back that. I can't lay 10 with that team.
Right.
The head coach doesn't use his timeouts in the final minutes of the game. It's dude, it looked like he had never coached a football game ever in his life.
Or ever played a game of Madden. Because, I mean, how do you, it flabbergasted. I still don't understand. If I'm an actual Broncos fan, I'm still at a loss. How you, do not call a timeout with a minute left in the game. Just mind-boggling. Yeah, I'm staying away from them.
Yeah, I'm still off the Broncos. I still think that's the worst team in that division. Granted, Justin Herbert does he have broken ribs officially?
I think I think he's got it.
So that's not good for business over there. But I just don't. I'm not buying into that team. And what I saw from that head coach in Seattle, that was very bad. You got taken to church by Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
And it's Pete Carroll. All right. This is my favorite game of the week. This one is going to tell me a lot about the Raiders.
Mm.
A lot of points again, but that's an official play for me. I'm taking the Raiders at home. They're hosting the Cardinals, and the Cardinals look like what we thought they were going to look like last year in Week 1.
Yeah, I agree. I'm on the Raiders as well, Rob. I can't back the Cardinals without DeAndre Hopkins. They're barely a football team. I mean, I think Ohio State would give them a run for their money without DeAndre Hopkins right now. It's like kind of a joke. So, and I'm high on the Raiders, so I think it's a good spot to take the Raiders here.
So this will be the second time I'm going against you guys. I am taking the Cardinals at 5.5. Shot back up from 5 to 5.5 earlier today. That's where it's sitting now. I agree. I like the Raiders. We talked about this on the AFC preview. I think they are a dark horse in that division. I like Derek Carr this year, but I just think the 5.5 is too much right now. Like, again, I'm willing to put up the unit. Prove me wrong. If you can cover the 5.5 against the Cardinals, like, all right, then we know. Like you said, we're going to find out a lot about both of these teams more today. Particularly, I think Las Vegas coming in as such what I would consider a substantial favorite for Las Vegas in a home game. So I'm going to make them prove it to me. I like the 5.5 with the Cardinals, but I make this more of a 3.5, 4-point game in favor of the Raiders. So I'll take the extra 1.5 there and take the Cards. I do think it's a 1-possession game, though.
I think that's a fair spread if the Cardinals are healthy, but with no Rondale Moore or D-Hop, first of all, their defense looked terrible, and Patrick Mahomes reminded everybody who he is. He looked
for sure
out of this world. I think Derek Carr's going to have a good day. Devontae Adams looked awesome last week. Who's checking him? I think we're going to see the Raiders offense expose the Cardinals today, and this comes down to, is Kyler Murray worth that money? Today you find out if he's worth that money, because you need him to start winning these type of games without your weapons. Elite quarterbacks win big games without their weapons. That's a fact. So we're going to find out about him today. I've been giving him hell since he came into the league.
Same.
And per usual, what's going to happen, Sean, just like the first 13 weeks of last year, we faded the Cardinals every single week, and they made us pay for it. But we're going to find out. I'm backing the Raiders.
I'll tell you what, I am gonna back the Raiders with you guys to some extent. I also my number one player prop on this week will be the Devontae Adams over reception prop 7.5. I've seen enough love on that prop from what I've seen this week, and the fact that it still sits at an even vig, it was more than enough for me today to kind of to buy on that. So I'll take Adams to go over 7 catches today. So I like that, combined with the kind of like a little bit of a play against that Cardinals spread. So that's also an official play for me on this game.
All right. Well, we're going into Sunday Night Football here. We're in Lambeau. They've had some time to digest what happened last week, hosting the Bears, who are kind of looked like they were on their high horse, acting like they won the Super Bowl last week.
Seriously.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Yeah,
act like you've won a game before.
You can never back a team that acts like that. You can never back them the next week. Never.
No. And it's a lot of points. I don't have an official play on this. I'm going to see what happens later in the day and see where everybody else is putting their money. But I'm leaning heavily Packers here.
Yeah, Packers are an official play for me. I'll make it my favorite play of the week. To me, this is an RELAX game. I mean, Aaron Rodgers at home. Aaron Rodgers against the division. Aaron Rodgers is a favorite. Aaron Rodgers in primetime. What do all these things have in common? These are all
Aaron Rodgers just against the Bears. He just beats the hell out of the Bears.
These are all 60+% trends against the spread. Until something else happens, I will put my money on the Packers. I'm okay with buying it down to 9.5 at -125. Earlier in the week, it sat at 9.5 all week. So if you got in there, great. I like the 9.5 best. It's my favorite play of the week. Packers roll.
Buying a lot of points today. You've been making money.
What's the net unit count, Sean? What we bought? How many points? We bought a half on the pack. That's it. We've only bought a half on the pack. But I like it, and that's my favorite one this week. And yeah, I think the Packers roll.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I'm the first person to go against the Packers. I think they beat the hell out of the Bears tonight. Yeah. And just remind the Bears where they are in the pecking order of things. and just remind the league it's like, no, we're still going to compete with every single team in the league.
Yeah, actually, the Bears somehow finding a way to win that game in the monsoon against San Fran makes me like the Packers play even more this week going in this week. So, yeah, and the fact, and again, similar to the same time last year, you have the Packers coming off a brutal Week 1 loss, looking to get right. I don't care who's out there playing receivers for the Packers tonight. Watch for it. Rodgers is going to put that ball like in every spot he can, where only those receivers can get it. Like it's going to be right there. I see like one of those kinds of games where he's making all those throws, primetime games, Sunday night. We've seen this game before. So I'm betting on the same game I've seen for the past 10 years.
Yeah, I think Rodgers is going to look like he could take the wings off a fly today.
Yeah.
Just perfect passes.
Exactly. Yeah. I think he's locked in tonight, Sean.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. Just the lean for me too as well, though.
All right, let's quickly dive into our fun little stuff, the touchdown scores. I'll go over a quick chaos parlay. Tomorrow we are going to do another cast for the doubleheader and our beloved Eagles.
Big game tomorrow night.
Big game tomorrow night.
Yep.
We fired up about that.
We knew that was going to be a big one.
Yep. Talking about that one for months.
Yep.
I had that day marked off for months. We'll find out, like, whoever wins that game is going to be in the hunt for the 1 seed in the NFC.
Yeah, they're in the driver's seat right now, yeah. If you could be in week 2, but yeah, it's a big one.
I feel wanky about this touchdown score one. I love 2 parts of it, but I think the Colts defense is going to find a way into the end zone down in Jacksonville. I'm not buying into that team yet. Chase Edmonds finds a way in the end zone. And Pat Freiermuth definitely looked like he was most in line with Mitch last week. I think that's going to be his favorite target throughout the season.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going with Colts defense, Chase Edmonds, and Pat Freiermuth to find the end zone today.
I like that. I particularly like I like Freiermuth. So I think like just what he presents is like a security blanket for Trubisky. I like that. And then if they can get in, get a couple red zone opportunities, I really like him to get in there. I'm going to go a little chalkier on my touchdown picks this week, kind of like I did last week. I mean, last week we were Dallas Goedert touchdown away from cashing in. What was that, like an 8-1 ticket? And I think, for the Eagles to put up 38 points and to not see Goddard get in, I was very surprised. This week, I'm going to go with Jalen Waddle. I like him to get in again against the Ravens. I like McCaffrey to get in against the Giants. And I like Trey Lance to get a rushing touchdown against Seattle today. 3 of those combined are at 15-1 on FanDuel, and that's my touchdown parlay this week.
I forgot to do one when we got caught up talking.
You and our new producer aren't doing your homework over the weekend.
Right, yeah, right.
We got to talk. When we're done today, we got to have a talk. All right, quick chaos parlay. Jets to cover. Saints money line. Panthers money line. Steelers +3. Dolphins +3.5. Cardinals +5.5. Because I just have a bad feeling about this. I'm really nervous about this slate, everybody. This is a tough one.
So fade it on a parlay and hope for the best.
I could easily go 0-4 today. I don't feel good about anything. And I'm just going to throw everything else in a parlay.
Right.
Feel good about it either way.
You protect yourself against the 0-4.
Exactly.
Because if you go 0-4, you're going to make everything back on the parlay.
Exactly.
But chances are, most likely, you're just going to go 2-2 and lose the parlay.
Yeah. That's how it works.
Most likely.
Tune in. You guys still have a few minutes. Leave some comments. We're giving out money. $100. $100.
Just want to let everybody know, as you're dropping the plays in the comments, if the play wins, you have an equal shot of anybody else that has a winning play to get selected for the gift card. So if you're going to lay, if you're only going to take 6.5 for the Falcons Elite Panther 412, sorry, you're not going to get any extra credit. But if they cover, you still got a chance to get the gift card.
That's right. All right, we're going to be live tomorrow. Talk about the doubleheader. Everybody, enjoy the Sunday.
It's going to be a wild one. Enjoy.
All right.